Her older sister Lorena was like a main character on stage. When the sun shines on her golden heavy hair, when she blinks her light green eyes. Everyone praises her. Lorena Menenci, she looks like an angel descending from heaven. Her sister was the world's favorite fund. A brown-haired girl in a black dress as if she's going to a funeral appears. Her name is Sienna. She believed that her sister had always cherished her. But in reality that was not the case, but she only believed that until she knew her true face. With a gorgeous grin Lorena informed her that she had always hated her. Far enough to get rid of her very existence, she was framed and put in prison. Sienna inquires if she did it because she was scared of what she did. But that was not necessarily the case. Lorena informed her that no one is going to save her. Lorena confessed that she was aware that she always loved her. But in return she hated her. It's an undeniable fact that everyone hates her. It was all caused by Lorena. Sienna believed in her and followed her. But all Lorena ever wanted was to get rid of her with her own hands. That was what made her happy. Sienna takes out a vial with purple liquid. Lorena's eyes open wide from the shock. She holds the vial in her hand and states that she won't grant her wish to do it with her own hands. Sienna holds the vial and Lorena screams no. Lorena exclaims she must be destroyed more miserably than anyone else. And that she can't allow her to meet her demise in such peace. Sienna laughs as she takes her last breath, to no one an unloved life. She wonders if it's fortunate that she can do what she wants. Even at the last moment, that's how her world ended. Suddenly her eyes open wide, she thought it would be over. But who would have thought that it would not end? Instead she went back in time. She stares at her delicate small hands, in the face of an unaffordable and realistic reality. There was only one sentiment that burst out: it's over. A old guy named Kendall states that as wizards they have a duty to protect the empire, that's why they are fed and clothed. Also that's why the Grand Duke is coming to see them. She is at Kendall Orphanage, it's just like any other place. To the point of being poor, if there's a difference. It is the fact that it is a place where only children who will become wizards are gathered. Due to the situation of the empire, which has been in constant struggle with the demons since its founding. Even orphans, if they could use magic, were taken in as wards by noble family. In fact Lorena and her are not real sisters either. They were only between the wards as a Noct family. The place that sponsored her and her sister was a founding family called Gijo Noct. It was one of the 3 guardians of the territory. In short, a noble among nobles, she was a child sponsored by the Grand Duke Noct. But nobles considered her terrible. They found it ridiculous that a commoner orphan is not qualified enough to receive. But her older sister Lorena, the young lady of Countess of Menenci, is a genius. She is kind-hearted and lovable with the same support. But it's just going to be a story that has nothing to do with Sienna anyway. In her past life, she fell in front of the Grand Duke. She was noticed and he said he would sponsor her. She thought she was fortunate that she wasn't scolded at the time. Sadly, she didn't know what would happen, but now she just needs to behave well and not receive the support of the Noct family. Suddenly someone announced that the Grand Duke has arrived. She feels a shiver down her spine. His name is Roderick Noct, head of Noct family. She attempts to stay calm and not make the mistake of falling down. Time seems to move slowly as she waits for him to pass her by. She closes her eyes in anticipation. Unfortunately, he stops right in front of her. She can't believe it. She thinks it must be a coincidence. He kneels down, shocking everyone in the process. He asks if she will come to Noct with him. Sienna senses a chill as if he's just returned from being in the mist. Such powerful magic that she can feel it when he comes close. The world still struggles with evil, even after the dynasty's war. Archmages played an important role in the empire. They are always ready for a battle. Because of that, talented nobles will be guarded even if they are just normal people. The sponsor they get is perfect entry into nobility. Since marriage between the guardian's children and the guarded is very popular. In another sense, through the guarded nobles can create a more powerful archmage bloodline. Among those, her guardian and Lorena are great people. They are upper class of the nobles. The Euros clan protects the sky. The Parato clan protects the blue sea. The Noct clan protects the land. And the leader of the army of archmages is it Grand Duke of Noct clan, who is also their guardian. He inquires about her name but she remains silent. The atmosphere is tense and she goes into a daze, but returns to reality after being tapped on the arm. She wonders why he's kneeling in front of her. She bows and exclaims her name is Sienna. And it's a pleasure to meet him. He asked if she wants to come to Noct with him. Something has changed but she's curious why he's telling her to go to Noct. That place is no different than a graveyard to her. It's a place where she's bound to have a tragic ending. She exclaimed that her head hurts and drops to her knees. With a worried expression he inquires if she can get up. He tries to help her, but she shakes her head rapidly. She wants to refuse but she can't open her mouth. She then loses consciousness and falls on the ground. She slowly loses consciousness but she noticed that he seems to be in shock. Sienna is conflicted about the situation and wonders why. In a flashback from the past, we see Lorena with a beautiful smile. They greet one another. Lorena tells her to call her sister. Lorena intertwines their hands and states she has always wanted a sister. Lorena exclaims they should treat each other like a family. They promised. Just like that Lorena became her sister. One day Lorena brought tea and sweets for her. She inquires if they should go to the clan's mansion for the summer. Because her parents were curious about her, in the next scene we see Lorena with a suitcase dragging Sienna along. Lorena's parents greeted her and thank her for getting along well with their daughter. They had a meal together. On a late night that summer Lorena came to her. She woke her up. She stated that she wanted to do something with her before going to sleep. Lorena showed her an old strangely looking disturbing book and stated that they should play with it. Noticing that Lorena is seemingly looking forward to it she reluctantly agrees. It's a way to share magic power with another person. Lorena stated that she wanted to share magic powers with her. Because she doesn't seem to have anything, the blood drains from Sienna's face. She thought the Grand Duke chose her to guard because she had magical powers. If she didn't want to become a burden to them, she had to be a useful archmage. Lorena tells her it's fine and that she had plenty to share. However, Sienna didn't want to deceive anyone. Lorena holds her hands and asked if she wants to go back to the orphanage. She stated that she wants to continue being sisters. No one has ever been so loving towards her like Lorena. No matter what the cost is, she wanted to stay with her. In the end she did what she asked. Lorena held her and said that it is their little secret. Lorena tells her that she shouldn't tell anyone. But trusting and having expectations for someone, how deceiving is that? She was determined the day she went back in time, that she would not get involved with her again. So not this time. Even if she wakes up she will just return to the nightmare she had as a life. But there's a strange tension around her. Earlier when she passed out after refusing to take the Duke's hand. He thought that everything was just a mistake and she was just too stressed. He then noticed that even though she's in an orphanage she's too thin. Looking at the other kids, she is clearly malnourished. To nurture important children a large amount of money was invested. So it can't be that the orphanage lacks funds, and the contrary. It must have come to their mind. Not a lot of children have the potential and knowledge needed to use magic. So these children and him are all military resources of the empire. So the person in charge of the orphanage can't hurt or export them under any circumstances. So as the person in charge of the orphanage is no longer qualified to carry out this mission. He is ordered to repent while he awaits his punishment. Kendall exclaims that he doesn't deserve this. In a stern tone he orders his men to take him out. Kendall shouts the orphanage is his personal property. Even if he's the Grand Duke, a man with brown hair explains that he should stop. If he keeps running his mouth he won't just be his property but his life will also be in danger. They take him out. Sienna slowly opens her eyes and looks at him. She noticed his cold gaze and wonders why he has that expression. She wonders if it's because he's not pleased that she passed out. She thinks that he does not want to adopt her anymore because she's weak. If so, this is her chance. She hugs teacher Lisa and exclaims that she is scared. She tells the lady that she doesn't want to go. She tells her she'll be a good kid and eat less. She'll take care of other kids and she'll listen to them. The nobles are stunned. Ms. Lisa states that she's just a kid, that's why she's like this. And that she must be scared to leave since this place is full of love to her. Lisa tells them she will try to advise her. With a terrified expression, Sana sobs, exclaiming she doesn't want to leave. She only planned to fake cry for a bit, but she suddenly is crying for real. Feeling sorry for her, Lisa covers her mouth, almost on the verge of tears. A guy appears and states that if she starts crying she'll scare her even more. The guy approaches the Duke and states that he's sure he wouldn't want to take a kid that doesn't want to leave. He requests that the Duke says that he doesn't want her anymore. He agrees. Suddenly she hiccups and thinks that she can stop crying now. Everyone becomes quiet and stares at her. She thinks it's too obvious, then starts crying again. To everyone's surprised, the Duke, feeling defeated, states that they're done for the today and they should go back. Sienna is happy, thinking that she succeeded. Teacher Lisa states the Grand Duke has left. Even though Sienna caused the scene, Lisa is still looking at her with those warm eyes. She thinks that this is true comfort. She realized it once again, the things that Sister Lorena showed her. Those sweet words and that soft smile was just a clever scheme. She found out that on that summer night at the mansion, the person who received the magic power wasn't really her. With a dreadful look on her face, Lorena calls her a fool. So all Sienna's life she was deceived by her fake warmth. She spent every minute loving that smile. Maybe if she had been with Miss Lisa in her past life, her life might have been better. However, Ms. Lisa thinks that our complexion is still pale. When it comes to her, she believes that it would have been better to let her go with the Grand Duke. But things turned out like this. She has no choice but to nurture her. Suddenly Kendall bursts through the door and inquires about her whereabouts. He is furious. He grabs her by the hair. Lisa clings onto him in an attempt to make him stop. He hits her, causing her to fall back. He grips Sienna's face and looks her into the eyes. He claims that because of her his property is gone. He threatens to sell her into slavery. Suddenly a serious voice asks if he isn't going to take his hands off her. He turns around. In an instant he is punched in the face. He falls on the ground unconscious with something fuming from the mouth. The hero that saved her is Grand Duke Asiel, the eldest son of Grand Duke Noct. He's not someone who gets mad often. His father then appears behind him. The servants drug out the former headmaster. Sienna wonders why her life is like this. She feels as if she can't do anything. However, the Grand Duke is there and everything is solved just like magic. She can now feel it. The children who receive guardian from the Noct clan. Lisa dashes towards Sienna, holding her tightly. Lisa believes that she is so shocked that she can't even cry. A servant exclaimed that he believed she is in severe shock. Also, it's difficult to stay in the orphanage any longer. With an expression of a shadow of emotions, the Duke asked one last time if she will come with him. He extends his hands to her. She wonders if her original self is greater than she thought. He must have saw it in her and took her in. She wonders if this is the reason why he was so disappointed and left her. Because all the nobles believe that it made no sense that she was being guarded when she's just a normal child. But the Grand Duke was indifferent to all of it. Still, it was all right. Because she thought that she stole Lorena's magical powers. She tricked the Grand Duke, so she was grateful that he didn't kick her out. She felt very guilty for tricking him, so she tried to do everything she could. Even when she worked so hard, Lorena would take every opportunity she had to take advantage of her. Even though Sienna's fingers was bruised and trembling from overwork, she agreed to more work. Despite her hard work, she was told her efforts were worthless. She thought of herself as a useless person with vain efforts. She lost her value and Lorena framed her. After that, the Grand Duke locked her away. That's how things ended. But now she must change her future step by step. She knows a new headmaster will come if she stays in the orphanage. But there's no guarantee that that person will be better than Kendall. He could be a human trafficker or even crueler. On the other hand, if she goes to Noct, she'll meet Lorena half a year later. However, being who she is right now, she won't be betrayed again. If she doesn't love her, she won't be able to trick her. So with a determined expression, she decides to go with the Grand Duke. When she turns 15, she can enter the military academy. She just has to endure it until then, but she'll have to break up with teacher Lisa. Lisa smiles and inquires what she thinks of the Grand Duke. Lisa apologized that she couldn't protect her, but she believed that she should see the opportunity she has right now. Asiel offers her the position of being president. The orphanage is close to the mansion, so it's a good idea. She has a change of heart and now wants to stay in the orphanage, but this will be the condition for her to become Noctchild. She agrees to go with them. They approach the carriage. And a servant thinks it would be nice if he took her directly with a little affection. The servant whispers that when they reach in front of the carriage he must stop the lady and hug. At the carriage he extends his hand to take Sienna. But she hugs Lisa tightly for the last time. She holds her tightly as if her life is about to end. Lisa gets her into the carriage and she asks Sienna to promise her that she will also visit often, so she must live well. Also, she must be nice to be loved by the Duke. Lisa passed her luggage. Sienna thanks her for worrying about her. Moments later the three sit in awkward silence. She wonders if she should say thank you for saving her. But she decided not to as she is really tired. Now she only has to try her best to be nice. When arrive at the mansion she is in deep sleep. The Duke carries her and brings her inside the mansion. He orders his servants to be quiet as she is sleeping. Asiel offers to hold her. The Duke tell them it's fine. The Duke inquires if he isn't busy. Asiel lowers his head and states it's okay, but even though he's busy, he has no idea why he can't leave her. We then see the second son Michael, who exclaims Dad. He runs downstairs and inquires about the young girl. The Duke tell him he's being odd and that he should be quiet. His face turns red and he pouts. He questioned his brother about her age and if she will be staying at his house. Asiel explains she is older than him by 1 year, and that she will be staying in his house. The Duke gently places her on the bed and her two brothers watch her sleep from the window. The oldest brother thinks that his father and Michael are different than usual. Him as well, but he doesn't know why. The moment he saw Sienna being held by the president's son, he couldn't hold his anger. Just thinking about it makes him feel angry. The Duke exclaims that they should go out and let the baby rest. Asiel glances at her and thinks that this time, definitely this time. Later on Sienna is seen in a dark place. Someone calls her name in an ominous voice. It's Lorena. She grabs her wrist and exclaims that she really hates her. With a menacing grin, she inquires if she's happy. When she took her position, Sienna wakes up with the blood drain from her face. She looks around the room and recognizes it as the moon cradle that Lorena used to use. The room that she had before was more simple. Despite this, she was very happy to have her own room. Lorena grabs her and states that they should go see her room. The moon cradle, except for the room of the Grand Duke and the Great Lord, is the best room. On the maid's room is also separate. She laughs and states that it suits her so well. Lorena grins and tells her to come to her room to play and she can sleep there as well. Lorena's moon cradle request was not refused by the Duke. They have no reason to give her that room because there are more maids' beds in the room than in her own room. She thinks back to what Lorena said in her dreams and exclaims that she won't fight for the position with Lorena. She walks outside believing that she'll be misunderstood again if she stays there. She walks around the hall in search of her room. She then falls on the ground and injured her leg. She slowly walks, while in pain, but she has finally found her room. She then falls asleep instantly.